Have you ever thought about how long it will take to drain all the oceans on Earth? Or we do stir this water. As much as 30% of the Earth consists of land. It is impossible to fit the sea waters anywhere. But just because it is not possible doesn't mean we can't imagine it. Let's assume that there is a hatch in the Mariana Trench, the deepest pit on Earth. And as soon as we open that hatch, all the oceans on Earth drain into the infinite void of space in a minute. All of this may sound like a big dream. It is one of the most beautiful ways to explain what will happen to us with the depletion of the oceans on Earth. Although there is no lavabo hole or hatch at the bottom of the Earth, we can see that the oceans are disappearing in the next centuries due to the current climate crisis. Let's first look at what oceans cover in the world and their importance to us. Calculations by the US Cartographic Institute calculate the amount of water in the oceans at 1,338,000,000 cubic kilometers. Oceans contain 96% of the water on Earth. But there is more we don't know about the oceans. The Mariana Trench, west of the Pacific Ocean, is the deepest point of the world's seas at 10,994 meters. The pelagic layer, which extends along the continental shelf, is the warmest region of the seas, where plankton, which forms the first ring of the food chain in the seas, grows under influence of sunlight. The depth of the more exposed mesopelagic layer reaches 1,000 meters. In the continuation of this region, which is considered the limit of the sun's rays, the bathypelagic layer begins, the depth of which is 4,000 meters. Along with the epizopelagic layer, sea cliffs begin and extend to a depth of 6,000 meters. At this depth begins the ocean pool and the zone descending into the deep sea with a low slope. The layer that opens into the deep sea channels is called the hadopelagic zone. Let's get back to the main topic of our video with you. If you are ready, let's drill a hole in the ground to drain all the oceans on Earth. Let the size of this hole be equal to the size of a basketball court. How much do you think it will take us to drain all the oceans? A day, a year, 100 years? All too hard to believe. It will take us hundreds of thousands of years to drain more than 1 trillion cubic feet of ocean water from a hole of this size. Let's develop a pump powerful enough to drain all the oceans using all feature technologies and start the pump. First, people who swim in the sea, sailors, ship passengers, will be first people to feel the effect of this. In a matter of seconds, boaters and swimmers in shallow water will suddenly hit the ground and manage to survive with just a few broken bones. But in the following minutes, the damage caused by this station will be more than a few broken bones. And some marines won't be so lucky. A ship the size of the Titanic will land in 30 seconds and be torn to pieces. In a few minutes, the same thing will happen to giant ships traveling over the sea. Let's move on to one of the biggest questions that come to mind about this issue. And if the oceans disappear, what will happen to sea creatures? You already know the answer to that. Because all the whales, dolphins, other large aquatic animals hit the ocean floor. The last thing they see will be the bottom of these oceans, and sea creatures that live at the bottom of the ocean. And these unlucky animals will be evacuated from the hole with the water into eternal darkness. At this time, real problems will begin for us. Our oceans have two life-supporting roles. They first regulate the global temperatures by absorbing energy from the sun. They push warm tropical waters to north and south poles and send cold waters back to the equatorial region. In this way, no place on Earth is too cold or too hot. Simply put, the oceans act as a kind of Kaiser for us, adjusting the temperature and coldness of the waters. Second, the oceans feed the water precisely, evaporate in the clouds and return to Earth. So the moment the oceans disappear, the world will turn into a vast desert. If one day this happens, as we told you, take your umbrella in your house and throw it in the trash, because it will never rain again. Now, we will answer another question that is in your mind. I'm sure a lot of people have a smart question. Yeah, the oceans are empty. But what about lakes and rivers surrounded by land? Can we try to survive with them? If it is up to rivers and lakes, we can say it's okay. Without the oceans, 97% of the world's water will disappear. The small amount of the liquid remaining will not be enough to sustain the water cycle. Our potable water tanks evaporate rapidly. In a few days, people and most animals lose their lives to the thirst. The drought that followed the extinction of the oceans would eventually ignite a dry blanket, and over the years, most of all the forests on Earth will be ash. As this great bonfire spreads around the entire planet, the oxygen in the atmosphere will greatly decrease. This in turn will prepare for the destruction of the world. So, to be honest, even if humans manage to cure thirst and survive after the extinction of the oceans, they will face extinction as a result of oxygen-free air, and our planet will end up just like Venus. And can there be a way to get people out of the station? You may think we are looking at everything too pessimistic. So for you, we have explored the changes that humans will survive without the oceans. The first thing that came to mind was immigration. So, where will this migration be, to the moon, Mars, or another planet? If we develop giant space elevators in the future, we can comfortably survive the disaster on Earth and live on the moon and Mars. But imagine that the oceans are disappearing while you watch this video right now. In this case, humanity's only hope can be nothing but that the ice sheet in Antarctica remains intact. In this case, it will lead to massive migrations into the southern polar circle. When temperatures on Earth rise and the surface of the Earth becomes uninhabitable, we will spend all energy collecting the underground glaciers in Antarctica. Because glaciers in Antarctica will be the only source of the water not affected by evaporation. We can try to build some kind of self-sufficient biosphere underground, but the mountains of Antarctica can make it quite difficult. Can you imagine trying to move humanity to Antarctica with our current technology? Most likely 5% of the rich in the world will reach here, while 95% will be persuaded to stay in a thirsty land with various lies and superstitions. But if the rich who reach Antarctica dream that they will live here happily, they are wrong, because all the face will be nothing but flood land. No mice, no rust, no food. With all this, it seems unlikely that people will survive to finish this project. So, as we just told you, if the oceans disappear, everything disappears. Plant life on the planet, the amount of oxygen on Earth, it is not hard to predict that they are all gone. Now, back to positive assumptions. Let's imagine people building shelters in Antarctica and living here for long periods of time. What will be the outcome? Unfortunately, the result will again be nothing more than a disaster, because there is no way to restart the carbon cycle and reduce temperatures to reasonable and habitable levels. In that case, everyone will disappear, and there will be no way back. Planet Earth will become a dead planet, just like planet Venus. Maybe small colonies of chemosynthetic bacteria hidden underground, which you have never even heard of right now, will survive. But even the probability of that is very small. Every day on our planet, the effects of climate change continue to increase day by day. But the effect of this climate change is not just an increase in temperatures. As a result of factors such as drought, floods, increased frequency, and influence of weather events such as severe weather events, rising ocean and sea levels, and increasing ocean acid rates, plants, animals, and ecosystems, as well as human communities, are seriously endangered. In order to find a solution to this, we must use energy efficiently with edible energy and support the prevention of deforestation. We must protect the seas and waters, avoid polluting our nature. And do you think the oceans could really disappear one day? What measures can we take to make sure that doesn't happen? You can share your answer in comments section with us. If you want the nature not to disappear, don't forget to share this video with your friends.